We are proud of each and every one of you who go above and beyond to carry out your duties, for keeping us healthy, for keeping us safe. Because of you, we are hopeful for the future. Because of you, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We don't have enough words to express our gratitude for your sacrifices. We can only acknowledge it and say thank you. National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
Hello there, good evening to everybody, and a very warm welcome on behalf of the National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya. I, your host, Dr. Maushami Dey, welcome you all to this live panel discussion today, the topic being pandemic, protection and religion. Well, since last year, that is the year 2020, the world has been engulfed into an unprecedented time due to COVID-19 and the pandemic that followed due to it. But significantly, our lives have changed to a new thing that we were not used to at all. Gone are those days when we were used to living a carefree life. But today, we are mostly stuck at home. Our work is mostly homebound. Education is more online, and many other things that has come into our lives that we were simply not used to before. Well, this is the pandemic due to the COVID-19. And as I said, it has struck the world over, and India too, of course, has been struck. And in our state of Meghalaya too is the same story. Ever since that time, we are used to certain words like sanitization, like face masks, like quarantine, like online, etc. So this is the new normal that we are talking about. Well, we were literally taken by surprise because none of us were used to this situation. And in fact, the pandemic, the COVID-19 itself was something so utterly new to us. In the beginning, we were totally helpless. We looked upwards to God. We had a lot of prayers that we sang together, we prayed together, and we hoped that this horror, this nightmare, as I should term it, should go away from our lives. But then it is still here. Of course, there was a downward trend for some time, but then the waves after waves are coming back to us. And as I said, we had prayed together with hope, with faith, that God will be there for us and that we would get some kind of protection and that we could go back to our normal lives. And of course, I guess, the scientific world, the doctors, the frontliners have all worked very hard along with the administration, the government machinery. Everybody worked towards bringing in a cure, a protection. And I suppose God finally heard our prayers, and we now have a kind of protection in the form of the vaccination. The vaccination is here. The world over has been, the vaccination has been going on in certain countries. In fact, some of the population has almost been vaccinated to a large number. In India too, the vaccination is going on. Yes, a significant number of our people have been vaccinated. They are willingly taking the vaccination, and that's a good news. But then there are a sizable number of people also who maybe for some reason or the other, out of fear, out of wrong misconceptions, wrong information, whatever be the reason behind it, the hesitancy is there towards vaccination. And that is why we are gathered here today in this panel discussion to talk about this hesitancy towards taking the vaccination, what more should be done. As I said, the government machination, the authorities are doing all out to impress the people, to convince them to take the vaccination. As I said, this is the only protection that we have before us at this particular moment. But then the hesitancy is there, and today we need to talk about it, and we need to also understand what kind of role can religious leaders, faith leaders, and others who are associated with religion can play a role towards what will be their role and responsibilities towards this time, that is towards the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So there you have it. This is the discussion, how we should be going ahead, and roughly for about 1 hour or a little over 1 hour. Please be with us because we have a very, very eminent panelist here to join us in this program. And let me just go over now and introduce our eminent panelists who have joined us in this panel discussion today on the topic pandemic, faith and protection. Well, we are being joined by Mr. Nava Bhattacharjee. Nava Bhattacharjee is the president of the Central Puja Committee, Meghalaya, and he's also the member State COVID-19 Consultative Committee. We are also being joined by Mr. J.B. Noor Nongrum. He is the General Secretary, Shillong Muslim Union. He also is a freelance journalist and a filmmaker as well. We also have with us Dr. Kamaljeet Singh Sahadev, who is the General Secretary, Gurudwara Sri Guru Singh Sabha, Shillong. And last but not the least, we also have with us Lama Jampa, who is the member of Tibetan Garden Choling Monastery, Shillong. So very, very hearty welcome to each one of our panelists, wherever you are there in your homes. Thank you so much for taking your time out to be in this program today, to be in this important, very important discussion today. I heartily welcome you and thank you once again for sparing us your most valuable time. And I'm sure that we will have a very fulfilling discussion, and the viewers who are watching this program will gain significantly by understanding what more needs to be done and what should also be their responsibility towards ending this nightmare, towards ending this pandemic that we are talking about. So hearty welcome to you once again. All right, so let me come with the first question that I have in mind, and I would like to right now go to Mr. Nava Bhattacharjee. Nava Bhattacharjee, well, what would be your first thoughts really? Because as I said in the introduction, this is an unprecedented time. Since last year, it is like a never-ending nightmare, right? We are living through it and we are still continuing to do so. So what are your first thoughts as soon as I say this pandemic, which is caused by the COVID-19? What are your first first opening comments on this?
You see, thank you for the welcome and very good evening to all my fellow panelists. You see, what you have asked is an interesting question, but it has to be seen in the perspective of the first wave and the second wave, because that is an evolution which has taken place. And in the first wave, we did not have the vaccine, yet the enormity of the COVID-19 was not so drastic as it is in the second wave when the vaccine is already there. So I think in course of our discussion, we need to take both the phases and see what is the psyche of the people involved, of the health authorities. And as the topic itself says regarding the pandemic and the vaccination, I think it is not only the religious leaders, of course they have a prominent role, but I think all institutions, particularly since you mentioned regarding the vaccine hesitancy, I think the religious leaders definitely at the focal point or at the apex, but all institutions need to play a very effective role in harmony. Because in many of my columns and write-ups, I have said that it is harmony of science, faith, and tradition. So
Absolutely. We will be coming back to that, Nava Bhattacharjee. Thank you so much for your opening comments. Now, let me just move over and bring in Mr. JB Noor Nongrum. Mr. Nongrum, as I said, we have all been impacted by this pandemic very significantly. So what are your thoughts also? As Navada has said that, like we are not just in the second wave now, we are talking about the third wave, and thereby something very significant has also changed, the situation now. So what are your thoughts also, opening comments on this COVID-19 or the pandemic that we are talking about?
Thank you, Mashumi. First and foremost, I would like to correct you. I'm not the General Secretary. I'm the Assistant General Secretary, Shillong Muslim Union. And JB stand for Janab. Okay. So my name is Noor Nongrum. Okay. Well, my first thought about when you talk about COVID, like for last 1.5 or maybe 2 years, we have been hearing. But now the moment the word COVID comes, my thought goes to the third wave. The third wave, first was quite mild, second really is hitting us hard, and I don't know where will it carry us in the third phase. My thinking towards this COVID is that people, irrespective of any caste, creed, or religion, should come forward and fight together. And together we can. It is no use calling for a religious leader or a doctor, but it has to be a collective initiative from everyone, from each and every member of the society. That is my first take.
Right. Thank you so much for your opening comments. Let me just bring in Dr. Singh here once again. Doctor, you are the frontliner. We are immensely grateful to people like you, to doctors like you, who have worked tirelessly, who are still working so tirelessly, endless days, endless nights towards this cause. This cause of eradicating, saving lives, and healing the world, right? Your first thoughts on this topic today, Dr. Singh.
Good evening, Mashumi, and thank you for inviting me to this program. And a very good evening to all the esteemed panelists here. So, see, the thing is that if you look at it from my point of view, I would just say that where have we landed, and what have we done to deserve this kind of a pandemic which we are facing? This has changed our lives totally. We have we are not into a normal way of living. We cannot move about the way we used to. We have to wear mouth masks all the time and be careful, talk to people from afar, and strange things. We can't even hug our near and dear ones. So, and I cannot see it abating anytime soon. So I just hope that all of us, as communities, as brothers who stay together, we need to live together, and we need to fight this together.
Absolutely. I think this is the buzzword from each one of you, that we need to fight it together. Let me quickly bring in Lama Jampa. Lama Jampa, you belong to the monastery. And so how has you also, I mean, other lamas also been impacted by this as well, by this pandemic?
So many Trashidale and hearty greetings to all the entire panel guests of our Dharma friends, and to those who are watching this live program organized by the National Health Mission Shillong. I'm very grateful for your invitation to this event. So I on behalf of the Gandincholi Monastery extend my hearty thanks to all the members of NHM. So regarding this COVID-19, it is so serious, and the series has not declined. So and the recent, the new case or the death case, especially in the Meghalaya state, and the number has not declined. It's large compared with our population. So we have to follow the guidelines of the scientists and doctors, and especially the government, and we have to follow the precautions very strictly. That's my opening comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, each one of you, for giving us your opening comments. So what I understand is that from each one of you is that, definitely this COVID-19 pandemic has impacted all of us in one way or more ways, and that we are all in it together. And this has been the stress right from the beginning, that we are in it together and we can only overcome it together. And here lies the role and the responsibility of not just any particular faith leaders or institutions, but all of us together. So, but then, as I said, that, the first wave was different, the second wave was slightly different. And by the end of the second wave, we already had the vaccination with us. So this is a question addressed to each one of you. Despite there being a vaccination, which gives us protection, and this is being told to us again and again by all the authorities. The government has been publicizing it. There are many people who are also telling it, the right-minded people are telling that the vaccination is only protection right now that we have with us. Perhaps in the future we'll have a medicine. Well, we have not reached that level yet. But then, despite this, and of course the flare-up of cases, especially in the state, we have been seeing that it is just going up, and so is the death also. I mean, there has been so many deaths. Right. So I would like to ask now to each one of you, and I throw open this question to all of you. How can therefore faith, on our religious belief help for us to come together, and especially to the cause of this vaccination? The faith that we have, should that itself bind us all together towards going ahead and taking the vaccination? And Navada, I would, ask this question to you.
You see, Mosami, you'll agree, there has always been an inherent contradiction between science and religion since dawn of mankind. But this, during the last 100 years or so, that has dissipated, and now it complements each other. So from the religious point of view, as faith leaders, I think this vaccine hesitancy, we have studied together with the government, NHM and others. So there are various factors involved, which I would not like to go into details. But the question is that how you work together. I'll give you an example. We have the Shillong All Faith Forum, where all of us here who are in the panel are members. So we, in our small, humble way, we have tried to organize the faith leaders of respective faith and how to go about it. And short, I'll give you an example where Central Puja Committee is concerned. When the vaccine came, it was not that hesitancy is restricted, confined only to Meghalaya or to a particular faith. Vaccine hesitancy is synonymous all over the world. So we have seen even in the CPC that there were hesitancy. But we came forward, we organized our units here in the different districts in Garo Hills, where the temple annex and others were thrown open, and we brought forward that this is the only solution, the only light at the end of the tunnel. Questions came to us also, Moshami, that if in the first phase, without the vaccine, so many people did not succumb to this, why now? And this is the question all over the state. I go to villages also. This is one particular pertinent question, because a poor villager staying in the interiors of Southwest Khasi Hills or West Khasi Hills does not know what is mutation, what is delta variation, and why vaccine is required, and why, in spite of vaccine, the onslaught of the second phase and the fatality has been so high. So we need to approach this aspect also very seriously, including the stigmatization of not only the death or a house, but the stigmatization of the disease itself. People are having fever, but out of fear, they are not coming out to go to the hospitals. And by the time they reach the hospitals, it becomes too late. Fear of peer pressure. And this is, Mochavi, you know what is post-traumatic stress disorder. So this is also accompanied. So this is what
Absolutely.
I would like to say.
Yeah,
That
just hold on to your thought, Nabha Bhattacharya. Hold on to your thought. We will come back to you again. But then it is so heartening to hear from you that you have mentioned, that all of you came together. There was hesitancy in the beginning, but then you all came together, counseled the concerned people, and then they were convinced enough to go for the vaccination. And that is, I think, very, very important. And I'm sure that this is still being done. And I just bring in Mr. Noor Nongrum here. Mr. Nongrum, as you are from the Shillong Muslim Union here, no religion talks in the sense, no religion talks only of the self. All religion talks of the greater good of the greater mankind. Right? And I think I see the vaccination also as a greater good, not for the self, but also for everybody around us. And yet there is so much of hesitancy because, religious text tells us that we should take religion not for the self, but for the whole community, for the whole people. Similarly, the vaccination also is not just for the self, it is also for others. Yet there is so much of hesitancy. Yeah. So okay, I think we will just take this question to Mr. Singh. Yeah, Mr. Singh, how would you address this? Because religion doesn't tell us, not to take vaccination. I mean, they tell us, in fact, that you should protect yourself, you should defend yourself, you should look after the others. Yet there is so much of hesitancy. Your thoughts, Dr. Singh?
See, ma'am, all religions, they profess that the service towards humanity is what brings us closer to God. Mm-hmm. I think you agree to that. And this is, the best time where there is no other service by providing mankind this, the vaccination, the protection against this pandemic, which is threatening our very existence. And, this has to be taken up by all religious leaders, and they should motivate and give that kind of trust. Here the main thing here is, I think there's some kind of mistrust or lack of trust towards the vaccine, which is causing this hesitancy.
And, wrong information, maybe, superstition is playing a role, as Nabha Bhattacharya has also pointed out, right?
Yes.
And misinformation.
These are the concerns which we need to, look into.
Yes. So I just bring in Mr. Noor Nongrum once again. The vaccination is like any other medicine. Don't you agree? It is like any other. I mean, we don't shy away from, we have not shied away in our childhood from taking so many vaccination, that we have taken. Yet there is so much of hesitancy now. Mr. Nongrum, how do you look into this?
Yeah, can you repeat the question, because the network is not so.
All right. I said, we do not hesitate to take other forms of vaccination right from our childhood. Even now, children are being vaccinated. They have a vaccination card and they have to go through all those vaccination. But why so much of hesitancy for this particular vaccination?
You see, Moushumi, if you will really recollect right from the beginning, there were a lot of negative news which have been spread against the vaccination right from the start. Yeah. And I think that is one of the reasons. And it is not faith or religion which is into it, because I believe that every faith or religion do prescribe that medicine or vaccination when you are ill. So I think we really have to inspect where are we not able to give the right information to people. What exactly is hankering people to not to go for it? Number one. Number two, maybe the information which we are trying to give to the people or the government, or maybe general individuals, they are not going in the right direction. Okay. That is the thing. We have to introspect. We have to think as how to go about it. Because I believe one thing. See, when we have our little children, when kids are there, we do vaccinate. And even those who are hesitant today for COVID vaccination must have vaccinated their kid. their children. So if they can reach to that level, we have to spread out the information to people in a right direction. That is what I strongly believe. It is not.
Okay, so you feel, information maybe, has not percolated down in the right manner and some more needs to be done. We will be discussing that a little bit, but quickly I just bring in, Lama Jampa once again. Lama Jampa, you were saying that in your faith, so there's a lot of trust. So you were just, offline when we were talking, you were telling me about the largest monastery that is there in South India and how all the monks have actually been vaccinated, including your monastery here in Shillong as well.
Yes, correct. Here at Lumbaring Tibetan Monastery, Gandhi Chuling Monastery, all of the monks we got vaccinated with the second dose. And we try our best to get the vaccination as early as possible because we saw that this is the only way, this is the only gateway to get free from this pandemic. So our main monastery at South India in Karnataka state, there are very big monasteries and also thousands of monks they are studying in the monastery, right? So there are great chance of spreading the pandemic because all are studying together and under the one kitchen and the different hostels are there and they're staying very closely. There will be risk of the spread of this COVID-19, but it has not spread so seriously. The reason is that they follow the guidelines very strictly. Okay. And more important is they got vaccination, all above 18, mostly some are second dose and some are first dose, but all the above monks, I think I can say that there are more than 15,000 monks in Karnataka state. There are many big monasteries over there. They all got vaccination. I think due to that, the pandemic has not spread so seriously. So we saw that at this current situation, the vaccination is the only way to free from this virus.
Yeah. So quickly, can you tell me? It is so heartening to hear that that you have convinced the all the lamas there, all the monks there, to take the vaccination. Right from age 18 and above, you said all of them have taken. How did you, just quickly, if you may add, how did it? Was there any hesitancy in the beginning, and how quickly did you address? How did you go about addressing that hesitancy, if there was any?
No, there are no hesitancy at all. Okay. They happily got the vaccination. They went for the vaccination with their own wish. Because in Buddhism we say that cherishing for others, we consider it as very important. So I think the vaccination we can consider it as a cherishing for others also. Right? It is not only for ourselves, and it's also for the others also.
That's right. Wonderful. I mean, this is the message that should go actually from this discussion today, that we should not be so selfish just to think about ourselves. We must think for the community at large, and only vaccinated people, when we vaccinate a large number of people, then only we will be able to contain this situation, right?
Yes.
But then, but to everybody, I would just like to tell you that happy news is that the government of Meghalaya has also an app which is called the Behavior Change Management app, right? I mean, that there is an app that the government of Meghalaya has, which is called the Behavior Change Management app. And it is in 3 languages, in Khasi, in Garo, as well as in English. And all of you who are watching this program today, well, you can certainly download that app in your, iOS phone or even Android phone, and you'll get a variety of information, information such as on vaccination, about your hospital beds, the availability of hospital beds, about testing centers, etc., etc. So do download that app that is there, and I'm sure you'll be benefited by this app called the Behavior Change Management app. All right, so I once again welcome those late tuners who have just joined us and you are finding us live in the channel that you're watching. Once again, I welcome you all to this program. And the topic that we are discussing today is a pandemic, faith and protection. And for this program, we have Mr. Naba Bhattacharjee with us. Noor Nongrum is also with us, Dr. Kamaljeet Singh, as well as Lama Champa. So far, what each of our panelists have said, that the vaccination is the only way out, and yet there are some hesitancy. So I address this question to all you gentlemen once again. What should therefore be done? Of course, each of you are saying that there is hesitancy. So what has not been done, or what should be done a little differently? How do we reach? Because, one thing that is most difficult to get rid of is the, ingrained, mindset. A mindset change takes the longest to change. And that is why social change, though it happens continuously, it takes a while for the society's mindset to change. Yet we don't have so much of time with us that we can wait for a year or so we need to act quickly, and today onwards, of course, it is being done, but much more needs to be done. So tell me again, what are some of the innovative ways and methods that religious leaders, like people from all faiths, and I'm using the term called all faith and all denominations, all backgrounds, can come together to come up with some innovative new methods, new ways to get rid of all those misconceptions and rumors that people succumb to, and especially in the rural areas, perhaps to some extent. What are some of the innovative ways that gentlemen like you can suggest that can be taken up more? Nabada, can you just tell us?
You see, vaccine hesitancy is one part, but Moshomi, the scary part is the vaccine rejection. Hesitancy, you can cross the border and make them vaccine acceptable. But if rejection sets in, and I would like to salute our health workers, the medical departments and the frontline workers, they are doing a tremendous job. And we need to complement and supplement their efforts as religious leaders. And like I told you, we are doing our best. For example, we meet in the Archdiocese. We formulate our program. I told you about SAF. You see, as far as the CPC is concerned, it has to be interfaith. It is not that I strive and aim on vaccinating people from my faith only. No.
Right.
It has to be a crossway, and Garo Hills CPC has shown us this way in Garo Hills. We have limited infrastructure, but they have opened the doors, small schools, buildings here, small club, but everyone, starting from awareness until when the vaccine came and moving around. As far as the rural areas are concerned, it is not only the people say the traditional institutions. No, when it comes to health, the rural people has maximum trust on the medical science and the health workers and people with whom they are conversant with familiar with. So it has to be a concerted effort of all institutions, as I said earlier, and we need to move into these rural areas. Sitting in Shillong and preaching, I'm telling you, or giving diktats will not help. I've seen our health workers, they are fanning out every way, but we need to support them and boost their movement. And I think all our faith together, we need to do it. We are giving appeals, we are telling people, but we need to reach out. We need to reach out and explain to the people that this is your only hope at this juncture. Otherwise, I tell you, the population of Meghalaya is very small. 20 persons dying in Meghalaya is equivalent to 2,000 people dying in a state in the mainland. Families have been devastated, has been ravaged. In one family, 5, 10, 20 people in a locality, in a clan have died. So it is time for all of us aggressively to move. And I tell you one thing, Moshomi, I'm taking a little more time. Even those who are under the ambit of the state government employees, and the health workers, I would urge them, please complete 100% vaccination. You cannot preach if you are not practicing. This is my appeal.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, it is. It is indeed. It is indeed a hand-holding time now or never. We have reached that level. A small state. We cannot keep on losing lives in this manner, and there should be enough fear now in us. And why not take a chance with the vaccination? In any case, I feel people are dying without the vaccination. So why not give that vaccination a chance? Mr. Dr. Singh, I come back to you because you, during the entire pandemic, even now, have done, without seeing from which religion, which community, you have done a lot of social service as well, right? I mean, the Gurudwara has been opened up. You've put in beds, made it a containment, quarantine center as well. So, what more can you add? How important it is for all faiths to come together? Forgetting all the differences, because all faith, all religion actually preaches good. It is us who have misinterpreted, I think, some of the texts. But then all religion is good. All religion talks good for the larger community as a whole. So what more can you add to what, Nava Bhattacharjee has just mentioned?
Ma'am, I agree with what Navada has just said. See, we already have a forum. It's called the All Faith Forum, wherein we have been meeting since the first wave, and we have been working and charting out so many different strategies. That time we did not have the vaccinations, but we were more towards how to contain the spread of this pandemic. Now it is more for the vaccination, but I will just digress a bit and say that the religious institutions and the health workers, are two sides of a coin. They need to work together.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
my personal thought on this would be to open up religious institutions wherever in the state they may be. Take health workers there, station them in these institutions. Why? Because these people who are, and see that they are of the same faith. I'll just digress here. Why? Because when these people come to the Gurdwara or the churches or the mandirs, they come there to pray. They come there for their faith. Of course, they are closed, but they will go there. And there they can be motivated, they can be encouraged by these health workers who will be by the side of the religious heads, and they together, they can motivate these people to go ahead and vaccinate. That is where both these people, the religious heads as well as the health workers, will bring in trust amongst the masses, and that is
Yeah.
what is required the most.
Right, and I think we also need to include the traditional institutions also, the
Yes,
traditional bodies,
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah,
they need to be
because
included.
yeah, it is very, very important because only through them you can actually reach, to the community at large. Mr. Noor Nongrum, as I said, initially we were so scared, but over the months we have adapted ourselves to this new normal. And let me again, I think each one of you will agree with me that this is here to stay for some time. It is not that we wish it away and it will go off. COVID is here because we are talking of the third wave, the fourth wave, etc. Right? So, Mr. Nongrum, let me come back to you. Can you cite some real examples from the text? Because while I was talking to you the other day, you said that long ago in the 6th, 7th century, how the Prophet himself talked about how to protect oneself for the sake of others as well. So can you give us some testimony from the text, from the religious text itself? Okay, I think we are not able to hear. We are not being able to hear. Right. I think
Yeah,
we
most of me.
Yes.
Can
please.
you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you now.
Before coming to the text, I would just like to what Navada and Dr. Kamaljit had said earlier, that science and religion has to go together.
Right.
But
right.
I strongly believe that religion comes with responsibility. Once You are religious, you are responsible. And once you are responsible, you are not only responsible to yourself, you're responsible to your family, you're responsible to your friends, you're responsible to your community and the society. And once that responsibility will come collectively together, we have to start from home. We have to start from home, each and every individual of us. Say, we may say religious leader, we may say health worker, but what about the members of the society? Each and every citizen has to be responsible. You see, I think what the government should do, like, of course, like, you cannot push on the vaccination, but at the same time, like, this testing has to be mandatory, and the government has to, like, identify the villages in which, like, we know what percentage of vaccination has been done. Where the vaccination is less, even, why not go door to door testing in the villages? Then only you will know.
This has been stressed recently by the administration also, that there
now
will be
we don't know. I don't know, my next door neighbor maybe, or maybe me, I am infected with the COVID, despite of giving the second dose also. Now, coming back to religious texts, way back in 14th century, like when the prophet had said there was a plague, then the prophet had said that the message has come from Almighty God, that if there is a plague in the land, do not go to that place. Or if the outbreak of plague is there in where you are staying, you should not go out. That is what the religious text and the hadith also says. Okay. Apart from that, like, somebody had asked to the prophet, is it taking medicine will defy the degree of Almighty Allah? He said, no, taking medicine is the degree of Almighty Allah.
Right.
So you have to cure yourself. See, Mushami, let me be very frank with you. We all are saying that the food we eat, or anything which has been given in this world, is given by God. The food we eat is given by God. But unless we don't take that and put it in our mouth, it will not solve. So similarly, this vaccine is a gift of God. And I request through this medium to each and everyone who are watching us, we as a citizen, what we can do, we don't have to do much. Each and every one of us, if we can take 2 to 3% to vaccinate them, and tell them to take 2 to 3 and create a chain, a chain in which each and every one will be involved. So now, saying that religious leader or the government or the health worker, we should not play the blame game. Each and every one of the citizen is responsible. If we want this pandemic to end, we have to take responsibility in our shoulder. We cannot point finger at anyone else, but we have to, you see, when you point a finger at somebody, see that the 4 fingers are pointing back at you. So we have to use the sense of responsibility.
Right, wonderful. Like, what I really like what you said, that each one of us actually should be responsible to at least get 2 more people get vaccinated. We should convince them enough, because we are all vaccinated. I'm sure all of you in the panel, including myself, we have taken, and I'm fit and fine. Nothing is wrong. And let us again also clarify this. Vaccination is protection, and I think the government is telling us again and again that the severity of the problem, if you are struck by COVID-19 also, the severity of it will be much more minimal. We will be able to fight it out, right? And the death rate also will not be as severe as what it is right now. Because the figures have come, the statistics has come from the government that many of the people who are dying right now are largely unvaccinated people, right? I need to take a very short break here. I will come back to Lama Jampa in a while. But at the moment, viewers and listeners who are watching this program, let's just take a very short break. We will be right back.
Hey Kongdeng, where to? Seems like somewhere special.
Yes, it's special. I am very proud to be a part of India's largest vaccination drive.
Are you not worried?
Why will I be? Instead, I should be worried if I'm not vaccinated.
But people are saying so many things.
People will always have something to say.
Will it really protect me from COVID?
Vaccination doesn't mean you are 100% COVID proof, but your immune system will be strong enough to fight even if you contract COVID-19 and it is not life-threatening.
I heard it has severe side effects.
There may be mild side effects like fever or chills or maybe headache, but that's normal. It will wear off on its own.
But is it really safe?
Of course, it is absolutely safe and backed up by medical professionals. Doctors, engineers, politicians, and many more are chosen from all sections of the society to be vaccinated.
Yes, you are right. I will also get vaccinated immediately.
Don't waste your time anymore listening to fake news and gossip. Take a decision to get vaccinated with confidence.
National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
Do you know the COVID-19 disease can be stopped by you and me? Together we can do this. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth as much as possible. Wash your hands with soap more frequently. Maintain social distancing and keep a distance of at least 6 feet apart. Most importantly, wear double mask at all times. One surgical mask and a cloth mask on top. If you have symptoms like cough, fever, diarrhea, fatigue, shortness of breath or loss of taste and smell, contact your nearest health center immediately, or you can call the toll-free number 14410 for any assistance.
Issued in public interest by National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
Welcome back, dear viewers. Welcome back. You are in this live panel discussion today on behalf of the National Health Mission Government of Meghalaya. I welcome you back to this program, to this discussion. The topic is, of course, pandemic, faith and protection. And today we have discussed quite a bit now, already 45 minutes or 47 minutes. Joining us in this discussion is Mr. Naval Bhattacharjee, Noor Nongro. We also have Dr. Kamaljeet Singh and Lama Jampa in this program, where we have covered quite a bit. And let me also remind all the viewers who are watching this program that in case you have any questions, at whichever platform you're watching, you can definitely type out your question and we will try to, our panelists will try to answer some of those questions. So in case you have any questions, please feel free to type in your short question and our panelists will try to answer them. So as I said that I'll come back to Lama Jampa. Lama Jampa, what are some of the innovative methods you feel that has been missed out or should be actually adopted, as measures towards, getting rid of this vaccine hesitancy that we are talking about, to reach that last man, the last person in the rural area, to make sure that he or she is also vaccinated?
So during this current pandemic season, I saw that the health workers and the nurse, they work very hard. They are the real heroes during this current situation. So we have to give big applause to them, right? So being a religious person, and what can we give for the people who are not vaccinated? Is that the illness suffering, what is spreading around this times, we are seeing that the illness of suffering, it has its own cause, right? Although we do not want the illness of suffering, but if we do not, if we hate the suffering, then if you want to get rid of the suffering, we have to find its cause, right? We should not run towards its cause. So the cause, so we have to investigate and what is the cause of that getting rid of this illness of suffering. So at the present, the vaccination is the only way, and it's the cause to get rid of this suffering. So I request those people who didn't get vaccination, without second thought, go for the vaccination. It will be helpful for yourself and also for the other people also. So there was some quotation like, if the problem can be solved, why worrying? Right? If the problem cannot be solved, worrying will not you do any good. So if we investigate the illness of suffering, we can see that the problem can be solved, right? So we don't need to feel worried. We have to go for the measures in getting rid of this illness.
Right. Okay. So I think so far we have all agreed that we need to come together. There is a certain amount of hesitancy. We need to address that. I'm not saying that there is a large hesitancy, but yes, hesitancy is there. We need to address those hesitancy by coming together, going to the cause of this hesitancy, address it, and together address it together, irrespective of whichever faith we come from. But we need to work towards it together. I think this is what we have understood so far that each of our panelists have mentioned. But then I think we are almost towards the fag end of this discussion. But then since Mr. Nava Bhattacharjee is here with us, Navada, people are talking about the third wave that is still yet to come. Since you belong to the COVID committee of the state, can you tell us how prepared we are? What are the kind of preparations that is already set in place to contain and to fight the third wave, if there is one coming soon?
Yeah, actually, you see, we are already going through the second wave, and it is quite high, the spike in our state. So while tackling the second wave, preparations for the third wave is also on. If you see the pediatric units and others, the vaccination of children, because Moshami, as you know, that there is the ICMR and others who, of course, we don't have much trust on, or our medical fraternity, that children are likely to be affected in the third wave together with others. So this is the focus of the government. And we also have been stressing the need in the COVID Consultative Committee that while together, because the health workers and the government is fighting a multi-pronged battle together with us, together with all the people, all institutions. So the third wave also, the preparations are on. The number of beds have been increased. There are 3 more centers coming up with ICU and ventilators in the 3 district headquarters in Tura, Shillong, and Joai. The oxygen plants are also 7 oxygen plants are coming up, which are being cryogenic plants, which are being set up. So the preparations are on. But again, coming back to the whatever preparation you do, hospitalization is the last resort. When we have a prevention, a preventive, Moshami, I'll just take a minute. If you remember last year, everyone, even people today who are vaccine hesitant, they were praying that Almighty, to our respective, to whomever we pray, that please deliver us and find a solution in the form of a vaccine.
Right.
Because it was said that it will take 2 to 3 years. And now when the vaccine is there, people are hesitant. The same people who prayed hard, and this vaccine has come with the blessings of Almighty, that we could get a breakthrough in 1 year's time, which was not considered by medical science or any scientists in the world over. Everyone said it will take 2 years. And now this is also a manna and a blessing from Almighty.
Right.
And we hesitate. So you see, like Swami Vivekananda said, that religion as a science, as a study, is the greatest and healthiest exercise that the human mind can have. So where is the dichotomy? Even Pope John Paul II said, science can purify religion from error and superstition. Religion can purify science from idolatry and false absolutes. So there is a point of convergence. One is complementing each other. So I don't understand where is the difference. So it is just, I think, a matter of comprehending and understanding the whole aspect of this vaccine hesitancy.
Yes,
And I'm
absolutely.
sure that if all of us
Yes, absolutely, Navada. Because whenever we are sick, we are critically sick. Where are we going? We have to come to the hospital. We seek medical attention. We take medicine, right? And those are prescribed by this. They have been made by the scientists, by the medical doctors, etc. Same way, the vaccination also. I mean, our doctors, our scientists have actually, they have actually, sort of. Hours has gone, sleepless nights have gone behind the making of this vaccination, right? I mean, it didn't come very easy, and there was a lot that went behind it. Of course, we have it in a bottle. We don't realize what must have gone behind to get it before us. Okay, we have a few questions with us. There is one question, a very interesting question. This person doesn't want to be named, so this question, if you'd like to, any one of you can address it. The question here is like this. My in-laws are God-fearing and good people, but will not take the vaccine. How can we strike a balance between faith and science? So something related to what Navada has just said. I repeat the question once again. He or she doesn't want to be named, but said, my in-laws are God-fearing and good people, but will not take the vaccine. How can we therefore strike a balance between faith and science? Any one of you can take up this this
Can
question.
I take this?
Yes, please go ahead.
See, when we were young in school, we were always taught something that God helps them who helps themselves. God helps them who help themselves. So if this person's in-laws are God-fearing, and if this gentleman or whoever the person is has not taken the vaccine himself or herself, first of all, that person is doing injustice to the in-laws, who must be senior citizens. So I'm sure that that person should motivate their in-laws to get vaccinated and thereby bring in, make correct the saying that God helps them who help themselves.
Right, absolutely. We have heard it countless of times. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Moushumi, can I add to that?
Yes, please go ahead, add it, yeah.
I just want to question. I mean, each and every one has to question oneself. Okay. The question is that, the proverb which says you don't know the value of a thing until you lose it. You ask what happened to those people who lost their beloved when the vaccine was not there. You ask those people what will happen to the children because the vaccines are not there for the children. So our thing is that when we vaccinate as parents, we are vaccinating not for us, also for our children. Because if the majority of adult people are vaccinated, automatically the children will be saved. As Navada had already said, that third wave will affect the children. So these are the questions we have to do. Because, this pandemic, this COVID has taught us so much. The compassion to be in the family. Today we are together in the family. We pray day and night. It has taught us love. Then why those who are not vaccinating themselves, they are being selfish, not only to themselves, but to their family, to the children, to the friends, to the society, to the community, and the state and the country as a whole. So let us come out of this selfishness and say, let us together vaccinate and be free from this pandemic so that tomorrow we can go to the market, we can go to the religious place. As a religious faith leader, even the prophet in his one of the thing, like even during the azan, like when we say, when the azan is called out, during pandemic, it is said that you pray at home. So taking this forum that we as a religious leader, or maybe all of the people of religious community has to think that either you can pray at home and curb this pandemic rather than telling the government to open up religious place so that we can pray and think.
Right. Because, we have been enough inside homes. We would want to come out now. We are enough. We are getting mental issues now staying in lockdown. How long will this continue? Normalcy has to return. Our economic, our economy is at stake. People are getting, jobless. Job cuts are happening. People's salary is being reduced. Daily wage earners are, also are affected. I mean, all round there is a state of uncertainty, and definitely now or never is time that we bring the normalcy back, because each one of us has to play a role. Okay, quickly, there is another very interesting, question that has come, and this is by Abhishek Das, who writes, if all religions believe in a God or a higher power, then what is God trying to tell us by sending this COVID-19? I repeat the question. Abhishek Das has sent us this question saying, if all religions believe in a God or a higher power, then what is God trying to tell us by sending COVID-19? Any one of you can take it up. I think Lama Jampa, if you would like to take this, because you've been silent.
Yes. So, regarding that in-law who are not getting vaccination due to his fear or something like that. So what I want to say is that the illness of suffering is part of our life. That is what we have to know. We have to, because when we born in this world, the illness, the suffering of illness and suffering of death, and it will come automatically. You can't run away from the suffering, right? So you have to take the lesson. You have to take the lesson, right? Some people, they think that the illness of suffering come from from the external cause or something like that, but it's not like that. It is part of our life, so we have to face it. We have to face it. That's one point I want to say. And the next question, the illness is actually due to our own past karma. That's what we believe, right? Our own past karma, due to ignorance, we sow the seed. We saw the seed of the illness or suffering in the past life. So that's why it remains in this life. So it is not a God-made. It is a self-made. That's what we believe. So, thank you.
Anybody else would like to address, Navada, you raised your, finger. Yeah.
No, just taking a cue from what Jampaji has said, that it is a karma of humanity. Since dawn of humanity has gone through many tribulations and tests which God put on the humans. It cannot be smooth sailing and bed of roses always, that the good and the bad forms a part of life. And this is also a test how we face, what is our level of resilience, and how we triumph and emerge victorious. And I think that should be our motive, having confidence and the passion to serve, which is very, very important if we are to emerge from this pandemic.
Right. Okay. So there is another question that has come from James Mouthaw, who has texted this question saying, "My family believes in God and God-given immunity. My family believes in God and God-given immunity, but is suspicious of the man-made vaccine. How can I convince them otherwise?" Yeah, the question is that, how can one convince the family of this man-made vaccine? Not very happy with the man-made vaccine because, God has given us immunity. Anybody of our panelists? Yes, no, we would like to take up this.
Yeah, when he says that man-made vaccine, so I would just like to question him, who made the man? And the earlier question was that pandemic, which was given by God. What does it want? What is the message? The message, what if we take COVID-19 positively, if we see how all religions have come together, the sense of brotherhood is there, the sense of responsibility of each and every citizen was there. Together, to stay together in the family. These things COVID has taught us. And when we say that man-made vaccine, so we have to really think, if it was a man-made vaccine, why not the very other day of the pandemic, this vaccine has come? So let me once again tell, it is not man-made. Yes, the Sharia, which we believe, is the scientists and men, but the knowledge has been given by God. So you cannot say it is man-made vaccine. It is a gift of God, and if anyone who believes in God should take it.
Right.
That is what I want to say.
Okay, I think we will take the final question here that has been written to us by Daphne. Thank you. And Daphne has written a very short, crisp questions saying, how can religion instill a sense of responsibility and accountability in society? A very, very, I think, very important question. How can religion instill a sense of responsibility and accountability in society? And this is what we were talking about. However, Daphne has sent us this question, which we need to address. Any one of you, Dr. Singh, would you like to take it up once again? How can religion instill that sense of responsibility and accountability in society?
Like I said earlier, that we have our religious leaders, and this lady has put in this question obviously because of the vaccination, in context of the vaccination, that
Right.
so unless and until religion and the religious leaders bring in trust towards their people and remove this mistrust from the point of view of vaccination, it is little difficult for even a common health worker on the field to go and tell a person, please come, you need to get vaccinated. So it all comes with religion. Since here religion is being mixed with science, in this case the vaccination part, the religious leaders have to take this cue to help bring in trust and motivate people to get vaccinated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's about it. We are almost, we have short the time, but then I would like to take a closing comment, 30 seconds to each one of you, because a number of people who are watching this program right now, this live discussion that we are doing. I start with Nabha Bhattacharjee. What would be your closing comment as right now to those people who are watching this program, who is not vaccinated, but therefore should go ahead with the vaccination? Please, your closing comment on this.
Yeah, my appeal to those who are not vaccinated is that you should immediately come forward. I think a lot of inputs have come from this discussion, and you, from vaccine hesitancy, you become vaccine influencers. Influence people to take vaccination. And I think this is the biggest service of those who have not been vaccinated. And those who have been vaccinated and watching should not also be complacent. They also should move out from their comfort zone, and within their areas, localities, families, wherever you can, this vaccination program, campaign, and convincing people to take vaccination is very, very important. And finally, in the rural areas, because my concern, I am moving there, you see, the communities should be given more say in vaccine rollout, because it is a question of confidence, complacency, and convenience. So all these needs to be taken into account when we try to break through and reach that beyond that 85-90%, and which is not beyond our reach. I am confident that with all the faith leaders, with the government, the medical science, and all institutions, the traditional institution, we can, we will, and Meghalaya can show that although we are lagging behind, we can reach the top and cross 85-90%. I think that is my appeal to all.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I come to Noor Nongrum. Let's end on a positive note. There is definitely light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is the vaccination. What would be your closing comments, Mr. Noor Nongrum?
Well, Moushumi, religion is a part of society along with its spirituality. Okay. Then we are all social beings and we have to act socially. And vaccination is the only answer to save the society. As I would like to quote from one of the hadith, which is, it says that anything approved by the authority of the society for the well-being of the society has to be accepted. And I believe that the changes will be there, and we have to accept those who think that it is a man-made or the scientist-made vaccine. But once again, I will tell you, vaccine is the gift of God, and it is only the measure from which we can save ourselves, save the society, save humankind, and we have to act responsibility. The last thing which has to be said is only vaccination is the only answer. Vaccinate yourself, vaccinate yourself, vaccinate yourself. That is all I would like to say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh. I know that it is said, Mahatma Gandhi said that if you want to see the change, be the agent of change, right? So we want things to improve, we want things to come back to normalcy, but we are not, following. So we have to, I think, be the agent of change.
Absolutely. We need to be the agent of change. And I will just, through this medium, request all the people of Meghalaya to get vaccinated. We have all been vaccinated at some point of time in our lives, each one of us. Why not take another one and get done with it? Save yourselves, save your near and dear ones too.
Right. And I come to Lama Jampa. Lamaji, would we like to end this with some slokas because you wish that to be for the world, to save the world, a prayer, a small little prayer, some shlokas for the sake of our state, for the sake of our people, that all of us will remain healthy, all of us will see the light at the end of tunnel, and we will have better days ahead. So can we now just pause and listen to the shloka that we want to.
So before the sloka start, I would like to say that those regarding the official figures of the Meghalaya about the COVID-19 case, I have been scrolling up the news sites about the COVID-related case. In that, most of the news site, it says that most of the death case happened to those who are unvaccinated. So even those who are vaccinated, even if they caught the COVID, but it's not so serious compared with those unvaccinated. So it shows that vaccination helps a lot. So I request you, everybody, to go for the vaccination. And as a conclusion, I would say the prayers. Om tare tutare ture soha, om tare tutare ture soha, om tare tutare ture soha, chela deje soha tabitu, daso kamdo nebi sacho ter, nena upon tapse shivana, chela tashi pewan zeto so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm sure that we will see, a change. Today's discussion has been so convincing. It has been so convincing to me, I'm sure, and it has convinced many others also who are watching this program. Each one of you gentlemen have spoken from your heart, and tried your best to tell about the good thing about the vaccine. You've taken your time out and you've shared it with us today so that the rest, the people who are watching this program, who are a bit hesitant here today after this program, certainly will feel a little bit more confident to go ahead and take the vaccination. As each one of you have said, this is the only protection that we have. I would like to thank each one of our panelists, Mr. Naval Bhattacharjee, President of Central Puja Committee, Meghalaya, and member, State COVID-19 Consultative Committee. Thank you very much, Navada, for coming to this panel discussion today. I also take this opportunity to thank Noor Nongrum, who is the Assistant General Secretary, Shillong Muslim Union. Thank you very much, Noor Nongrum, for sparing your valuable time with us today in this program. I also would like to thank Dr. Kamaljeet Singh Sahadev. Thank you, Doctor, for being in this program today. Of course, you're the General Secretary of Gurudwara Singh Guru Singh Sahib Shillong. Thank you very much. And we all know the great work that you are doing, not only being the doctor, but also, in your social service that we have seen so often in the media being reflected again and again. Thank you so much on behalf of everybody. And last but not the least, I would like to thank Lama Jampa, who's a member of the Tibetan Gaden Choling Monastery, Lumpur in Shillong. Thank you, Lama Ji, for coming to this program today, to this discussion. All your insights has been wonderful, and I'm sure that today, through this program, we have been able to change some minds. Even if a few minds we have been able to convince, I think that will be our biggest happiness. Thank you very much, dear viewers, for watching this program so patiently. We hope that you've enjoyed this program as well as learned something, some insights that has come out from this program. Thank you for your time. And this is your host, Dr. Maushmi Bey, taking your leave, and until the next time, when hopefully we will be back, you look after yourself, stay safe, stay protected, and get vaccinated. From all of us here, it's good night.